Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Well, I thought I'd have something a little bit more unusual again, for the sake of some variety, not the regular mainstream stuff today. We're going to have a look at doing a review on this Czech model, 1/32 scale, F80C Shooting Star. Now I should say first of all, this is I think it's 2009 kit. And it was basically marketed and imported into the States by Squadron Products, who used to sell it on around the world. Sadly, Squadron Products recently folded as a business, so it's quite sad really, but anyway, that probably makes this worth a small fortune. Like wing up wings almost, isn't it? Perhaps not quite the same, but yeah, I can't do its value any harm, but it's an interesting aircraft, the Shooting Star. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for this plane. It was America's first jet fighter, and they actually gave it its maiden flight in January 1944, so it was actually being developed during World War II. Now, it's a pity they didn't get them through quicker, isn't it, and had these at the end of World War II. You imagine these and the Messerschmitt 262 shooting it out. And typically, compared to the German jet fighter design, this is a much simpler aircraft, you could say much more rational, easy to manufacture, sort of technically straightforward, quite a logical design really. And I say I've always liked it. I don't know what it is about this plane. Maybe it's the nose, or of course they used them in the Korean War to great effect, and it shows it attacking ground targets. It's obviously had a couple of bombs which he's just let go. Yeah, that works quite good, but at the same time it's a bit weird, a bit almost cartoonish, slightly I'd say. But anyway, so they were obviously using these, and you may have seen there's a movie, The Bridges of Tokarev, and in that they used, I think these are featured, and they also feature Panthers, I think, and maybe some Sabres as well. And ultimately it was replaced by the Sabre, simply because I think that was rushed through quite quickly. I mean, this was a design by Kelly Johnson at Lockheed Martin, who's famous for designing lots of great aircraft, but he also designed the Starfighter, so that wasn't such a great one. But anyway, I won't get into that today. He did design things like the SR-71 Blackbird, amongst many others. So he was quite obviously he was a leading aircraft designer in the States really at the time, 50s and 60s. And 40s in this case. So he had a long run, didn't he, old Kelly Johnson? He was quite a genius. Anyway, as I was saying, they did get replaced by the F86 Sabre because it had swept wings, and the reason was that the Russians had supplied the North Koreans, of course, with these MiG-15s. I say supplied the North Koreans, they're supplying with pilots as well, from what I can gather. Maybe we shouldn't get into that. But obviously the F86 was much faster than the Shooting Star, and these started to get shot down in quite high numbers by these MiG-15s with the swept back wing and swept tail, which were just faster and manoeuvred probably equally well. So they were sort of they sold quite a number of these. They're sold on to places like Chile, and they used the trainer version for many years because it's a very good aircraft, very stable, didn't have any great vices, a good plane, just generation 1 jet fighter, literally. But I say, I don't know what it is about this plane. I just like it. Something about the simplicity of it. It's quite nice. So let's take a look at the kit. I'll zoom you in a bit more, and you can see that on the side we've got made in the Czech Republic. So as I say, it's imported by Squadron Products, who are no longer with us, but it should be quite a decent kit, we hope. Details about dimensions, power plant, performance. So 580 miles per hour is not bad, frankly. That's pretty quick, but just not the most manoeuvrable, I don't think, of planes, and limited in what it could carry, of course. I think that maybe the problem was, in a way, they 650 caliber machine at 6. Okay, packs quite a punch. That's quite impressive. I think the problem was with this plane, maybe when they designed it, they were trying to make it a fighter bomber, because obviously you can see that on the artwork, he's just dropped his bomb off this pylon, and maybe that compromised it a little bit. Maybe they went a bit bigger in the wing and this just slowed it down. But of its day, immediately at the end of World War II and beyond, into Korea, started Korea, nice aircraft. Here we've got different designs. We've got Sagging Dragon, which which is the 51st Fighter Interceptor Wing, Suwon, Korea, March 51. Here we go. Another Korean one here. This is the 8th Fighter Group, also at Suwon, and then Little Dotty, and that's this one is being used as a bomber, so that's interesting, isn't it? 8th Fighter Bomber Group, fighter bomber. Okay, could be either. See the point I'm making, can't you? At Taegu in Korea, December 1950. So you got 50, 51, 52. Let's have a look inside the box then, see what we've got, because I think it's going to be quite interesting, this one. I say I quite like the shooting star. I don't know what it is, it's just got a charm about it somehow. Now, didn't do a very good job opening that, but we're in now. Should just explain that I don't own this one, so it's been lent to me, but we're quite fortunate today because we've got resealable bags, which is quite good, isn't it, for 2009? That's quite a bonus. Looks like it comes with some resin, several bits of resin, instructions, and some big sheet of decals, and it looks like we've got an Edward instrument pack as well. So let's start as I normally do with the decals. I'm sure these are extras. How many are extra, how many standard? All will become clear. We've got a nice protective sheet of tissue. Oh, these are nice decals. Wow. Okay. Bring you in. Aeromaster. Aeromaster. Yeah, these look really nice, I've got to say. Very much in the style of the era. They're very glossy. Because obviously this plane was a metal finished aircraft. And quite a few stencils, and they're really rather nicely printed, these are. It looks like a very minimal carrier film on these. Those look really good, I've got to say. So this is exceeding expectations immediately, so yeah. And the printing is fine, in fact so fine, it's better than my glasses are able to interpret that I'm using at the moment. So you'll be seeing a bit more detail in the data there than I am, because my glasses can't quite cope. Oh, there we go, 2009 copyright, I was right. Yeah, they're really nice, aren't they? Good variety, some real beautiful colours on this the sagging dragon. That's quite nice, isn't it? That's awesome. And are they actually separate? No, they are on one decal. Decal or not? Hard to tell if those are actually... Struggling to tell if these are actually separate bars or it's all one decal, because it's so finely done. They look gorgeous, those. Oh, okay. Now we know why. Printed by Cartograph. Printed in Italy. There we are. That explains it then. Okay, those are lovely. Very nice. Well, that's a good start. Impressive. Let's see how we get on with the rest. So, instructions, and let's hope it's not a Great Wall Hobby Star where it's all about to disintegrate. I think in fact that these are... Oh well, do you know what? I spoke too soon. Yes, it is Great Wall Hobby Style, isn't it? Okay. Yes, I don't know why. Yeah, okay. Actually, it's only the second time I think I've seen this style from another manufacturer, not in China. So, anyway, let's try and take it one at a time now. So, a bit of a blurb at the beginning. Tells you about it being produced by Kelly Johnson. There you go. The Skunk Works. Clarence Kelly Johnson, his full name. Kelly being his nickname. And it goes on to say, as I mentioned, destruction of MiG-15 and its first engagement. That was quite good, but sadly that wasn't to be the trend, I don't think. As you know, they were a little bit outclassed ultimately and had to be moved on. So let's have a look what we've got. We've got the plastic parts sprue tree here. Printing's quite good. It's got almost like a 3D effect. We've got your colour call-outs and your decals here, showing you the positions that they need to go. Photo etch parts and resin parts are included, so that's good. So actually no, it wasn't an extra. Looks like the resin part, photo etch I mean, are actually part of the kit. Yes, because it's got the Squadron. We'll come to that. It's got Squadron Products logo. It's clearly made by Edward. I can tell you that for sure. I guarantee you. It's got their typical typeface. But obviously, being the Czech Republic, it's probably going to be them anyway. So there we go. On the rear, then we've got all the stencil placement and the common information. That's very clear. Got to say, that's all right. I don't like it being separate, but anyway. So then we get the assembly guide. Starting off with your instruments, you're putting in your PE frets here, the PE instruments, which we'll come to. Then you've got your pedal arrangement going in underneath. I think they had an ejector seat. Yes, they did. One of the first ones to have an ejector seat that the Americans produced, I believe. And then you're building up your little cockpit tub and your stick. Ejector seat. The ejector seat's not terribly detailed. Or is it? Oh no, I'm wrong. It is actually resin. No, I'm making assumptions. Sorry about that. That'll be fine, I'm sure. So you got your tub going in. Then you're bringing in all your instrumentations and your gun sight. And then one or two little switches and side controls. Then you build up your wheel well, which goes underneath the front. Doesn't seem to mention any wheel weight in the nose there, which worries me because I think it'll need some. Not sure how much, but I think it'll need some wheel weight, nose weight. Then you've got your bays for your undercarriage gear bay, and you're drilling out holes for the tanks and weapons as desired. Here. Bringing, it's quite an old school sort of top and bottom sort of shell to the way the wing is constructed. Similarly, top and bottom, doesn't look like there's any movable ailerons or elevators or rudders on this plane, unfortunately, on this particular one. And you got your intakes, and again you got one of the two bits of PE, like little PE grill going in there. Then you got your canopy and your windscreen, flat black with silver reflector. The mirror, that's the mirror here. And then we've got a couple of air brakes, landing air brakes. Those look quite cool actually, don't they? They do. And then your front nose wheel and tyre, and you've got an option here of plastic or resin, it looks like. Here. Be interesting to see how those compare, won't it? And then we have that nose wheel going in, and then your actuators and your main gear going in with your wheels and tyres for the main wheels here. It's nice and clear, these instructions. I think the way they're portraying what they're trying to say is very good, much better than some others we've seen. And then you've got your gear doors going in, main gear and nose gear, and then they have an info view there, so you see that they are trying to do that Zokimura thing and just give you a bit more information what it should look like. You put it in. Then you've got your wing tanks. You've got two different types of wing tanks. I quite like the sort of sexy one that's very fluted, Coke bottle style. That looks nice to me. And we've got a bomb. What is that? £500 bomb, I'm guessing, thereabouts. So those go on too, and then you've got your various lights going on the tips of the wings. And then you're putting in your 50 cal gun barrels, which look like they are, I think they are going to be resin. And there's a painting reference at the end, and of course you've got your pitot heads going in. That's it really. And then a little paint guide sort of at the end with the first option. So again, this is why they should really, see what I'm saying about how silly this all is, because look, that actually needs to be there. So why can't they put a staple in it and make it all one, one instruction book instead of having it separate? Instead of having to go chasing after other sheets. That's a bit silly. But anyway, the quality of the instructions images is very good. Just don't like the way that they actually constructed them there. Right, let's have a look what we got then. I think we'll start with what's closest to hand. We've got the instruments here, so we'll bring you in a bit closer. I will take this out of the bag to have a proper look. Careful with small bags, they're very easy to rip these. There we are. Oh, ooh, yes, those are rather really nice. Look at the detail on that. So you've got like the outer sort of ferrules of the actual instruments, and then you've got the actual instrumentation themselves. And really, those are pretty nice, I'd say. Some great detail there. Like it. Oh yes, and you've got the mirror as well. That's the rear view mirror. Wow. You've got that part of the bombs. My eyesight's failing again. You can probably see it on the zoom on the camera better than I can here. I think that's the back of the bomb. And then you've got a couple of instrument panels at the side, either side of the pilot. Well, those are gorgeous. Typical Edouard quality, isn't it there? Gently put that back in there. Whoops. That's safe for the sound. Then we have a couple of resin parts, and if I'm honest, I'm not even sure what those are. Unless, oh yes, the pitot heads. It's the pitot heads. It's just the they're quite chunky ones. It's not that obvious. There's a lot of resin. There's actually the part is actually here. See it? It's got quite a chunky stay, so it makes it look like it's something else. Those are nice. Okay. Right, plastic. Let's start with the big one first. Zooming out. A bit less of the old green screen. So, resealable bag. Very gently. And we have got some wings and fuselage here now then. Let's have a look at the proper parts. Well, we've got to bear in mind that this aircraft tends to have, they're quite big panels, but detail looks pretty good to me. Let's have a look. I can see lots of rivets and the panel lines, it's recessed panel lines. Lots of nice riveting detail there. It's a shame they couldn't have done the rudder movable, that's a bit of a blow, that's a bit of a negative. But the surface quality is nice. It's quite sort of strong, chunky plastic. Yeah, it's quite nice. It almost looks like a fish, this aircraft at the front, doesn't it? The sort of nose shape, you know. It's quite fish-like, I think. But you've got little grills and vents. You can see that grill there. Yeah, that's come out really well. Looks okay. Looks okay. It's not overly detailed. It's quite a simple sort of polished finish. But then again, you probably want that because you're going to put a metal finish on this. So you don't really want it to be one of those kits where the plastic is quite a sort of satiny matte finish, because it's harder to get that high gloss of a metallic paint finish to go down. Nothing wrong with that, that's fine. Let's put that one there safely. And then we have got the wings, and again, only criticism really is that it's just all very simple, old school and stamped out in one, you know. Why we couldn't have had at this scale, why we couldn't have had some moving ailerons, I don't know, it's a bit of a shame. I don't know what the kit costs, so reserve judgment a little bit. But it's just a bit disappointing at such a big scale that you've not got any ailerons. You're going to have to cut them out yourself. Which is doable, you know, but it's just a bit of a pain. There is evidence of some, I was going to say some marring in the mould. I'm not sure if it is. I think it is. Actually, that's starting to remind me of that trumpeter bear we saw recently, which had a lot of fairly awful marring in the actual mould itself. This is not as severe, but that is definitely, I don't know if this picks up on the camera. Look how the finish alters there. The other one's a lot better on this side. This is very, very matte, and as though the mould's not been polished up enough. That's a little bit, it's not going to cause you a problem, I don't think. I think it's so mild that it's just attracting the eye because it's obviously glossy. But you probably do need to polish that up a bit if you're going to make it the same as this, because this at the moment is smoother and glossier than this one is. And you really want it to be even, otherwise it's going to look very odd when you start spraying metallic paint on there. Yeah, it's not the finest moulding in the world, but it's adequate, you know. It's just a shame they couldn't have separated those ailerons. You know, it's a bit old school, but it's okay. Nothing wrong with it, it's just a bit outdated style, but then again, you know, it's just 12 years old. And I say, I don't know what this costs, so I reserve any criticism. If it was a sensible price, then we're prepared to except the odd foible. It says, and you can't get it back in the bag. Why? Why is it resisting me? There we go. Okay, all good. Okay. Mixed feelings there, but nothing terrible. A bit out of focus, sorry about that. What I was going to say is that I was a bit critical of the Bear recently, the big kit from Trumpeter. But one of the reasons for the criticism really was the price. I mean, it was retailing at 75 quid in the UK. No, you can't be expecting to produce a... Obviously it was an older kit, they'd rebadged it, the box said 2017, which it actually wasn't. And then put it out at £75. You can't do that, I'm afraid, and expect to get a glowing review because it's just too much money for what it was. Anyway, let's have a look at what we've got here. Got some lovely resin. Let me open this carefully. It's quite hard with these Ziploc bags sometimes. Sometimes they just shear off. Let's have a look. Now then, the ejection. Oh yes, yes. I said, oh, the ejection seat looks a bit basic. No, it's fine. Have a look at this. Here we go. Given the very pale colour of it, it's actually a little bit difficult to get. There we go, see the detail there. No, that's nice ejection seat, isn't it? And bear in mind, this is one of the early ejection seats, so they were a little bit kind of simpler in that day. Late 40s, it's still World War II is still going on when this has been developed, so it's understandable if it doesn't look like a modern one. You've got the pull handles at the side. Oh, that's nice. It's alright. Very cool. Okay. And we've got some wheels. Why have we got so many? Got the brakes on it as well. Sorry. Wheels, tyres and the brakes. See the brake calipers at the back? That's quite nice. Very cool. You've got treads as well, nice treads. I hope the camera's picking this up. See that? Tread? Yeah. Yeah, very nice. And then there's two styles. So we've got the wheel itself is a different style. I have to say that the style on the left, as you're looking there, that's the style I'm more accustomed to. I quite like that style. It reminds me of cartwheels in the Wild West. And again, on the back it's got the brake calipers. So there we have it. Those are rather nice actually. Again, nice tread. All good. Very nice. Then you've got the front wheel, which is equally nice. There we are. And obviously it's both moulded on one sprue, so to speak, resin sprue you might say. The two styles, again, more open style and the multiple spoke style. And then we've got your 50 cal machine guns here, and it looks like is that the bullets? It's hard to tell. I think it's the, oh no, it's the grills. You've got some, sorry, my camera is struggling today. It's because it's so light. Grills here, grills and vents, and then 50 cal gun barrel muzzles. And then we've got various little like actuators and hydraulic control levers and things. But all nice. Just very hard to photograph, isn't it? Because the colour is such a bright, light colour. That looks good, looks good. That one there. Now then, a couple more sprues to go. We have got the cockpit tub. Here we are. Fair bit of detail there. It's all moulded in kind of one, isn't it? With the option obviously of putting that the Edward instrumentation little panels go on top of there. I think you might have to sand down a couple of bits to get them in, because they don't seem to have left any deliberate space. for you to add them on the top, so I think you're going to have to make room by rubbing it down. Then we've got the instrument panel itself, he says. Lost it here, there we go. Now this is the plastic option, of course, where you've got an option here. I would definitely be using that Photo Etch version if I were you. And again, we've also got the plastic wheels in the two styles instead of the resin wheels. So you have a clear choice which way to go with the wheels. And again here. So you've got the inboard wheel, outboard wheel. And then you've got some quite nice looking moulding actually here on the that's the nose leg. Sorry, one of the main legs. Main leg here, quite nicely detailed. And then your nose leg is here. Oh, it looks fine. It's a little bit old school, as I said before, and there's a nasty sink mark in the right in the middle of the top. Can you see that? Can I catch that in the light? There. That's a bit horrible, but you're not going to see it because the seat will be there, so it doesn't matter. We've got our intake here on this sprue. We've got the intakes, nice intakes. Again, it's quite a sort of a, I like the shaping of it on the shooting star. It just looks nice. And then you've got your trunking for your intake there. But there is a horrible ejector pin mark right in the middle of it. Whether you'll see that, don't know. Probably not actually. And then you've got obviously your tail planes. Again, this is slightly disappointing that you can't, at this scale, that you can't have them moving elevators. And you got your trims. And the moulding's good, the detail's good. They've just been a bit corner cutting, haven't they? There's nothing wrong with the shape. It all looks nice, and there's not much in the way of flash. Just a little here and there, but not the sort of flash that sort of see on some kits. There's flash everywhere. And it's hard to know where the flash ends and the actual piece starts. It's not like that, it's quite nice. Quite a solid, chunky moulding, in fact. It's okay. And then finally, in the grey, we've got all the tanks and things. So we've got the rather, what did I call them, rather sexy style, this sort of Coke bottle-ish, more aerodynamic wing tank, tip tank. And then you've got the more, slightly bigger version. I think it's 300 gallons and 500 if I'm not mistaken. Is it less than that? Is it 250 and 300? Something like that. And then you've got your bomb, which is right on the end here. Which looks quite nice, quite nicely moulded. Various actuators and rods for controlling the gear. Another bomb, you've got 4 bombs. Huh. 4 halves. What am I talking about? 4 halves. And you can see there the pylon as well. It's quite nice, really. I mean, the moulding is good. It's a little bit, again, little bits of flash here and there. Nothing major. It's all right though. Quite like it. I think it'll be built into quite a nice looking shooting star. To be fair. Here we have the clear parts. And we have got quite a bit, because it's very unusual, like a teardrop canopy. Not a bad canopy that actually, because it's a tricky old shape I think to mould this is. Let's just see if you can catch this. There we go. Distortion, not bad at all. I think there is a bit of variance in, there's a bit of distortion down the sides as you look down through it. In a vertical motion down there, but it's not bad that actually, and it's very clear. It's nice and bright and clear. And then you've got your, it's quite an unusual style, isn't it, to put it on this sort of an S bend. And you've got your windscreen, which looks there's a little distortion here and there, but it's not bad at all really. Yeah, it's okay. Actually, quite a lot of distortion on this side. I don't know if you can see that. It's not great on this side. A bit more distorted on this side of the window, the port side. Other side seems fine. there we have it. So, what do we think? Well, first of all, I like the aircraft, so I'm a little bit biased. Because I like shooting stars. They're just... it looks more modern than something built in the end of World War II to me. I always thought that of the shooting star. I think the kit's a bit old school. I think it's a shame that they didn't do a little bit more. They could have put in some working ailerons at least, even if they didn't do the elevators and the rudder. It's a bit like a big 72nd in that respect. And I think when you get to 32nd scale, even in 2009, you know, I mean, what were Tamiya doing? They brought out the Spitfire, which is just brilliant. Even today, when you look at that kit, it's fantastic, and everything is movable on that, you know. So they could have done a bit more with it, but it's got no obvious flaws apart from there's an odd ejector pin mark on sync mode. Quite a nice kit though. I think if you're handy with the metallic spray paint, you can make a really nice shooting star out of it. So, in terms of final verdict, I think I'm going to say 7.5 out of... No, I'll tell you what, I'll give it 8, because it's got some cracking decals. I'll give it 8 out of 10. Generous 8 out of 10, I think. Quite like it, really. I think, yeah, make up to a nice model, but just likes a little bit of animation with those moving surfaces. So there you go, 8 out of 10. Bit generous, perhaps, but it's okay. I think, yeah, making up for how cruel I was to the bear. Okay, so there we go. Hope you enjoyed it and find it interesting. Sad that these guys are no longer in business, because they did bring some interesting subjects, and especially with people like Czech Model, they introduced 1 or 2 quite unusual or, you know, varied, slightly out of the more popular sort of realm of kits. Maybe that was the problem, I don't know, but sad to see them go, and let's hope somebody fills their shoes in the States for us. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the show and found it interesting, and please, if you haven't subscribed already, ding the subscription bell and you can see a wealth of similar videos to this, some with more glamorous kits, some with less, and also if you are a subscriber already, ding the notification bell, make sure that you get early alert of any forthcoming new videos, and please feel free to comment if you know this kit, or if you had any other similar ones. Please let us know. Everybody finds it interesting to see the comments, and beyond that, give us a like, thumbs up please, if you wouldn't mind, and don't forget to tune in next time, and until we meet again with another review, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you all stay well, stay safe, and it's bye for now.